Hi there everyone, Lars here with another Writer's Theory, brought to you by Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers. Because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends. And today I want to talk about who Emperor Belos is, from the show The Owl House. And if my theory is correct, it would not only reveal what his motivations truly are, but also King's true identity and his past, and ultimately give us a nod to the show's climax. So, here it is. This is my theory. Emperor Belos is a demon of the Boiling Isles. He is no witch or warlock. He is not like the other witches in his coven, or really any other coven for that matter. And he is seeking not only to restore the Titan, but to become the Titan himself. Alright, have my bold claims hooked you yet? Good. Now, what is my evidence for all of this? Because I'm saying some rather bold things right here. First, I need to cement my claim that Belos is a demon. This is where things get strange, because the denizens of the Boiling Isle are so diverse and crazy. You just gotta love this Guillermo del Toro fever dream of a show. But this means that we can't go off looks, but instead we have to look at abilities. Demons have shown themselves incapable of performing magic like witches can. Witches rely on their bile sacs next to their heart, intense training, magical circles, and staffs in order to perform their amazing magical feats. Demons, on the other hand, don't directly use the same magic as the witches. They do have powers and abilities, though, like Adagast and his illusion powers. And when Ida is transformed into the Owl Beast, she gets all of her instincts and strength boosted at the cost of her magic. And we have vague hints at King once being a powerhouse. So, with demons and witches not having the same sets of magical abilities, this calls to attention some of the things that Belos can do. And it bears mentioning to what we've seen so far in the show. Uses of magic are accompanied by signature glows, which is very important to note when we watch Luz fight the Emperor, because he uses magic to melt and reform himself as we see that glow around his body. But he can change the room and summon demon flesh and even create new monsters without having any magical glow as far as we've seen. I can only conclude that Belos is using both demonic powers and witch's magic. But if he is a demon then, how can he use magic? My answer to that is that he is stealing it. That guy has been pretending to be a witch by petrifying a whole lot of other witches and stealing their magic. Because when we look at the petrification ritual, that whole statue is rather mechanical. He is stealing their magic and artificially storing it in his mechanical staff. Next of all, he's consuming talismans, probably to sustain himself as he's messing around with these powers that don't really mesh. And as a quick side note, this all puts into context what we've seen with the Bat Queen and Albert when Luz cracks the poor little talisman, because the Bat Queen is gathering together all of these other talismans who don't have owners. But we've seen a lot of petrified witches. So things are beginning to fall into place right here. So, to sum up my first claim, Belos is a demon who is stealing witches' magic and using it to remain in power over the Boiling Isles. And I have to say that his whole Coven system is brilliant to that end. Segregating the witches according to covens and locking their powers is a brilliant move in order to retain his own control over society and the Boiling Isles as a whole. It makes his role as a charlatan so much easier when no one else can really spot the differences because of how he has segregated and divided them. Now, I also said that he is seeking to restore and become the Titan. Now, this might sound like a stretch at first, but please hear me out. We catch a quick glimpse of a code across the books in the library that read, Creation Lore, the Titan and his spawn. The Titan may be down and rotting, but he left behind quite a bit of life. And clearly, his heart is still beating. And this leads to when we first get to see Belos himself, deep within his keep, sitting upon a throne just under the decaying heart, as it beats. He is visibly weak and shaken until he devours the magic of a talisman. And in that same scene, as Belos is aggravated, the heart beats faster. And at first I thought it was because Belos was terrifying the Titan's heart, or maybe somehow possibly hurting it. But neither option really made much sense when I thought about it. However, when we start hearing about the Day of Unity, things began falling into place, especially when we see Belos fight lose. Belos appears to be controlling the matter of the boiling isles, creating beasts and influencing the Titan's rotting flesh. He and the heart are perfectly synced, and this would go along with his insistence that he hears and understands the Titan's will. Now, I get that many fans of the show will be skeptical with his claim because we are trained to believe that villains are all lying to us, but this guy is so stinking confident and sure of himself. That is not the attitude of a man living on a lie. He is so confident because of his connection to the Titan and how sure he is of his master plan. He's not shaken until Luz unexpectedly manages to chip his mask. It's the one thing in his grand complex plan that doesn't really go according to how he expected. But even then, he is so sure of his victory, and he just lets it roll off, though he is pretty sinister about it still. So honestly, given what we've seen of Belos, how sure he is, how well his plan has been working out, and everything that we've been told and seen, until the show clearly shows us otherwise, we kind of have to accept that Belos is telling the truth, and that he speaks for the Titan, and that he can hear the Titan's will, and that all leads to the Day of Unity. Crucial to the Day of Unity is the door that Ida has been using to get to Earth to pillage it of its junk. Again, going off of Belos' words, he doesn't want to invade Earth and conquer it, but he clearly needs something from Earth. It is highly likely that part of the Titan is hidden on our planet and needs to be retrieved to fully revive the Titan. I highly doubt that Belos' goal is to merge Earth and the Boiling Isles like what we saw in Star vs. the Forces of Evil, which is still one of the dumbest finales I have ever seen to a show. But moving on. Nor does it seem for Belos that he really wants to conquer a world that isn't magical. What purpose does that serve to a guy who is clearly trying to amass magical power? But it would make sense that someone long ago disposed of a very necessary part of the Titan back on Earth, locking it away behind a magical door. You know, I'm beginning to sense a pattern of people depositing dangerous stuff on Earth to hide it. And I'm really beginning to see a whole lot of connections here. And I will get into all of that with a future theory video about how Amphibia, the Owl House, and Gravity Falls are all connected. So stay tuned. Feel free to subscribe and ring the bell icon because I am coming out with that video here in just a bit. Anyway, the Day of Unity is the appointed time for the Titan's revival. However, that poses a problem considering how everyone lives in and on its rotting corpse. Which makes me think about the specific word, unity. Unity means either merging everything together into one complete whole, or acting with the same frame of mind. While the society of conformity that Belos has created would suggest the latter, the former of bringing everyone into one entity makes gruesome sense. The Titan wants to live. His spawn must all be gathered together as part of the grand ceremony to bring him back to life.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
And really then, that begs a very important question. Why would Belos sacrifice himself and everyone else just to become part of the Titan? Because he obviously believes that he will become the Titan himself, wholly and truly, completely in charge. And we even get a hint of that from his character design. His helmet has complete Titan horns, and he can manipulate the matter of the Titan. And remember that his emotions are in sync with the Titan's heart rate. Therefore, I conclude that Belos is looking to be in control entirely and become the Titan himself. That is his ultimate goal. But what about King? I referenced him earlier on at the beginning of the video, so how does he figure into all of this? People have pointed out the whole horn situation between him and the Titan, and he also has a mysterious past, and he is convinced that he was a leader and a conqueror, hence his name, King. And as a demon of the Boiling Isles, he is likely a spawn of the Titan. That means that he would easily be enfolded into Belos' grand plans. But here's the rub. King could be the one to foil these plans. Belos wants to be in control, and he seems like the perfect candidate to lead the Isles and become the Titan. But King's name and his mysterious past suggest that he is a contender to that grisly throne, and it would certainly fulfill his desires for power. But as he has learned friendship from Luz, King has slowly been changing. His potential status as a contender to Belos' goals and the overall throne for the Titanship could mean that he has the powers to conquer the Emperor. And there's actually good reason to suppose this. In both my theory video of The Intruder and my analysis of the first season, I broke down how a dark message within the series has been how the people closest to us, our friends and our family, are our greatest threats until we have firm, healthy relationships with them. We've seen the danger that Ida and her life have posed to Luz, and we have especially seen how Lilith betrayed Ida, so that theme is very much throughout the series. And we still have yet to see what danger King poses to Luz and the others. And there's so much potential there for the show's themes and world building. I'm really looking forward to learning more about King's past and seeing how that ties in to Belos' grand plans. So now you might be wondering, well, what about this great climax of the show? How will it all play out? Well, obviously, King, Luz, and Ida will defeat Emperor Belos and save the Isles. But how exactly that will look will come down a lot to Season 2. So I'm staying tuned for those episodes when they air. And yeah, there you have it. Emperor Belos is a demon posing as a witch and using his empire to restore the Titan to full health and strength with the hopes of becoming the Titan himself on the Day of Unity. Tell me what you think about my theory in the comment section. I look forward to reading any and all of your responses. And if you are interested in my upcoming theory video about how the Owl House, Amphibia, and Gravity Falls are all interconnected, then please, once again, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified for when that video premieres. And if you are looking for advice on writing, please head on over to our podcast, Camille's Harem, found on Podbean, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, the works. We also have writing exercises on our Pinterest page, and we hold discussions over at our subreddit. Links for all of those sites are in the description. Thank you for joining us on this adventure that we call writing, and until the next video, y'all, tschüss.